After watching this video, you will be able to choose the best health insurance in Switzerland. I will explain to you how the basic health insurance works in Switzerland, the different health insurance provider and their services, and I will provide you with an Excel file so you can choose the best health insurance for yourself. Welcome to the channel. My name is Sebastian, your personal expert in finance. So in Switzerland, it is mandatory for residents to contract a basic health insurance, and you will need to pay for it directly. Upon your arrival in Switzerland, you will receive a letter to remind you to contract an health insurance, and you are allowed to change insurance once a year before the 30th of November. Just out of curiosity, you can see on this graph that health costs in Switzerland are amongst the most expensive worldwide. So this is why it is really important to make an assessment once a year, as you can save lots of money. I would say a few hundred very easy. So the basic health insurance should cover for most treatment due to sicknesses that were developed meanwhile you were under the insurance scheme. So it means that if you got sick before coming to Switzerland, the current insurance will not reimburse for your sickness medical bills. So I will just give you a few examples on a few medical bills that will be taken into consideration. So let's say the example, you have a flu, or you have developed a cancer, or you are fighting with depression. So you can see every time you're sick, you go to the doctor, then it should be taken into account as a medical bill. However, you may have some bad surprises as some sicknesses will not be taken into account by your insurance company. I will give you a few examples. So you may have a disease that is still not recognized in Switzerland. You can also have dental costs. Dental costs, they will not be supported by the basic health insurance. And also bear in mind that accident cost is covered by another insurance, which is the insurance for accident. So if you're employed, then it is very likely that your employer will support this cost for you. Otherwise, you will need to contract a personal accident insurance as well. This is where you may be a little bit surprised, because in most cantons of Switzerland, you will need to deal with private companies. Some cantons, they begin to offer an insurance which is backed by the government, but it is still rather rare. Each basic health insurance provider will cover the same exact medical bills. So you may ask yourself, why don't they have all the same price? Well, they will deliver the following services that will affect their pricing. Here are a few elements that will affect their prices. The price will greatly be affected by your content of residency. Their client service may be totally different from one company to another one. Some will offer an online platform when you can exchange your invoices with the insurance company. The cheapest insurance will usually ask you to go with a partner pharmacist in order to get your medicine. Some insurance will have some special requirements, such as always meeting your main doctor. He will then redirect you to any specialist. So we call it the insurance model. Then you may ask yourself, who is paying the invoice? Then who pays the invoices? With the cheapest insurance, you will need to pay all your medical expenses by yourself, and then you will submit your invoices to your insurance, and they will assess whether you can be reimbursed or not. With the more expensive insurance, your insurance will pay all your medical expenses directly to the medical centers, and then they will ask you to reimburse them. On my analysis, I will only rely on the price as a matter of comparison. If some of the elements mentioned above are important to you, then you will need to make your own assessment. Let's understand what is a premium and the insurance deductible. You will need to pay a premium to your insurer every month, and you will be able to choose your insurance deductible. The higher your insurance deductible and the cheaper your insurance premium will be. So if it's still complicated for you, I will give you an example. So if you choose a premium of 300 Swiss francs a month with an insurance deductible of 1,000 a year, and you incur for 1,500 of medical bills, then in this example, you will need to pay 12 times the premium of 300, which is 3,600 a year. And out of the 1,500 of medical bills, you will pay out of your pocket 1,000 Swiss francs as per your insurance deductible. And on the amount which is above the 1,000, the 500, you will need to pay 10% out of this amount, which means 500 times 10% is 50. That 10%, this is in the law, so every people need to pay every amount which is above their insurance deductible. The reason you still need to pay that 10% is for people to be more responsible. If they don't have any insurance deductible, they don't need to pay anything. They would just go to the doctor every day. They just don't care because everything will be paid by the insurance. So for this example, the total will be 4,650 a year. So for my analysis, we will need to make an analysis on two components. First one, we will compare the different providers between each other. And secondly, we will decide on which premium and which insurance deductible. We would start by going online. Some people, they prefer using the website comparis.ch, but I would not recommend it since I would rather use a government-backed website named premiumfo.admin.ch. There you can enter your personal information and calculate. We can see that from my personal extraction, I could save up to 12 Swiss francs a month if I were to move to Suica, and I would only pay 336.60 cents, with an insurance deductible of 2,500 Swiss francs. So yeah, I am prepared to pay the first 2,500 of medical bills by myself. So now, for those of you that are still unsure about which premium, which insurance deductible to choose, let's run the analysis together. So I have created an Excel file that you can download right below in the description. First, you will click on Comparaison des franchises right here, and then you will list all the cheapest premium by insurance deductible. So let's do the first one. For example, here is the cheapest one. It will cost 455.40 cents times 12, which is 5,465. For 500, it is 553.10 cents times 12, which is 5,437. So yeah, you can see the lower the premium and the higher the interest deductible, which makes sense. Then in point 2, I have prepared how much I will need to pay out of my pocket depending on the medical bills of the year. Then in point 3, we can see the total in premium and the medical bills that will cost me. First, I would avoid taking the middle solution. I think that is what most people choose, as they don't really know what to choose. They don't know, should I take the high premium, the low premium, so they choose in the middle. But by you choosing the middle one, I think you're definitely choosing the worst decision. So we're coming to number 2. You need to assess how healthy you are. If you're still young and you're in good shape, then you are less likely to become sick, right? So in that case, the best scenario is that you will be able to save 1,300 if you take the lowest premium and you don't get sick during the year. And in the worst case, let's say you have a lot of medical bills, then it will cost you only 600 more if you have decided to choose the lowest premium. So I believe it is still worth taking the risk, taking the lowest premium, and we know that in the worst scenario, you're only losing 600 Swiss francs. So that's still not going to make much of a difference. But in the best scenario, if you don't get sick at all, you don't see your doctor, you don't incur any medical bills, then you're saving up to 1,300 Swiss francs. Now for the second case, let's say you are older and you're not in great shape. Like you've been drinking, you're not feeling very well, you usually get to the doctor, you usually get sick. Then in that scenario, you may want to choose a higher premium, but you know that in the best scenario, you're just saving 600 Swiss francs, not more than that. So that's your decision. For me, I consider myself as still young, in good shape. I'd rather save up that 1,300, go to the gym, make some exercise, and not meeting my doctor. And if I'm really sick, I know that at the worst case scenario, I'm only wasting 600 Swiss francs. So you still need to make the full analysis for yourself, but hopefully my Excel file should help you making your own decision.